What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Sforgo. Today I want to do the reviews a little bit different than what I normally do regarding the characters. So in this video, guys, we're actually going to be doing a little comparison with the characters of Kula and Maisie, who both look amazing. I mean, Mai's got the sexiness right, and then Kula's got all that wonderful charm. Just both amazing characters, and both have amazing theme music as well. I really love what Kofas has done aesthetically for both of these girls. They are fantastic, and that is completely subjective, but I mean, from what I've seen from all the comments, it seems like a lot of other people agree with me. Now, what we're going to be doing today, guys, is I'm actually just going to be showing level 90 gameplay. The reason for this is a lot of players are curious as to whether or not these characters are worth getting just at level 90. Well, I can tell you guys, a little spoiler alert, that yes, I think they actually are, especially considering that right now we have the Alexandrite event. And in this event, guys, I'm going to show you guys a run using this team right here. We're just going to use Kula to SS or a BS and SS character, and then we're going to show, Mai with a BS and SS character, because BS and SS characters get a huge buff in this thing, guys. You can actually put out quite a bit of damage in this. Now, granted, my fame system is at level 15 and higher on my colors. I do have a fully leveled up codex, and that does make a big difference in your damage, but both these girls are at level 90, and I can tell you they make an insane difference. All right, and I'll show you guys the builds on all these characters here in a little bit, so you're well aware, and maybe it'll help you out, right? If you're using SS and BS characters, guys, that are purple and red, that really can help you out tremendously in there, especially if you have Kula and Mai. But what we're going to be doing, guys, is we're actually going to show a guild raid run between the two girls. Now, this isn't really meant to be a comparison, but I really want to, just to save time, I'm just going to show you guys a split screen of guild raid of Mai and Kula. And I'm just going to be I'm going to go ahead and remove my ugly mug here. I'm going to use Kula here, and then I'm just going to use Mai as a striker, and then I'm just going to switch them around and use them vice versa, right? And they're built exactly the same, right, as far as, how they look. They both have max capsules. They both are running a Rugal set with two of these option cards. Now, granted, guys, this card here gives defense fighter critical rate by 2%, right? So I kind of screwed up a little bit, so you're going to see a little bit of difference, in the damage, and that's actually my mistake. I actually just noticed that, but I was running this card that has that transcendent stat of that extra 2% critical rate, and that does make a difference, guys. 2% critical rate can make a big difference, and as far as, the amount of damage that we're actually doing, it can make a difference, and then obviously having the transcendent stat. So that is a little bit of a difference that is in Mai's favor, so my bad to all you Kula fans. I kind of screwed up in that, but also, we're going to be using the SS3PGs. Now, this is something else that's really nice, because Mai's SS3PG actually decreases damage to you by 50% whenever you use this skill. So it adds to her survivability, like whenever Rugal does the explosion. It's really nice. Obviously, there is no stones because both these characters are at level 90, all right? And we're going to talk about, the differences also as far as, their kits. Well, Kula here, a Rugal set, and then again, the two option cards. In hindsight, I really wish I would have used that transcendent card, but, it's going to make a difference, guys. A good difference, but I wouldn't say a massive difference. But you will notice in the runs that we're doing today that Mai will appear to be stronger. And I say appear because the truth is, guys, because I'm using a transcendent card on Mai, and also because in the run that you're going to watch, I wasn't playing Kula properly, as I'll explain in a little bit. I wasn't doing as much damage with Kula as I originally could have done. And I will tell you guys the actual numbers that I was actually able to do with Kula when I did a better rotation. But again, just a Rugal set, and then Kula's SS actually deals additional chill damage equal to 200% of attack upon landing this skill. So she actually gets a damage buff from using this skill. Both of these 3PGs cannot be interrupted, guys, and these things do show up every once in a while in the game. You're able to get these things. Sometimes they give us SS selectors, especially if you're buying KOF passes, and even if you're not, they still give them out. Even on my free-to-play account, guys, I'm able to get, SS selectors for these cards, so really cool. All right, both their affinities are level 10 and so on. Also, something I want to touch on really quick, guys, is their leaderships. Their leaderships are identical, except, one gives increase to burn damage by 50%, and then Kula's gives an increased damage to chill damage by 50%. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the run for you guys right now so you can watch this, all right? And, Maisie obviously is on the left, and Kula is obviously on the right. Now, a mistake that I made as far as the Kula is that, you know, she actually resets her skill. She can actually reset her second and third skill. So whenever you're playing with Kula, what you generally want to do is you want to go 3, 1, 2, and then 2, 3, right? The 1 will reset the second skill will reset the third skill. Maisie actually can reset all of her skills from her finisher skill. And you really want to use their finisher skills, guys, because they really buff up their damage tremendously, giving them attack buffs, critical damage buffs, and so on. That really makes a big difference in both these girls. And neither one of these characters had the relevant dot against Rugal. So in a way, in that respect, it's actually a fair comparison, right? And I'm using both of their striker abilities with each other, which is also something else to note. Now, some differences between these characters is, you know, like Kula has what's called the Burr effect, and that actually decreases defenses by 100% and for 3 seconds. And she also has a shield, which really aids in survivability, and of course the immunity core. They both have the immunity cores, right? Those are identical. And Mai has what's called the Shurinari successor from her core, which actually increases her Infernal Flame attack by 1,150% of her attack, and it also decreases defense by 80%. So from the core, Kula actually has a higher advantage because she actually has a decreased defenses by 100% versus 80% that Mai has. But whenever you start talking about their skills, right, the first skill from Kula actually gives an increased attack by 100% and actually, you know, gives a decreased defenses by 100% for 10 seconds, right? Well, Maisie on her third skill does the same thing. So Kula's first skill and Maisie's third skill offer the same benefits, right? And then the second skill on both of them gives a critical damage by 100%, which is pretty awesome. But for Maisie on the second skill, it actually increases her physical damage by 5,000%, which is insane, guys. That is nuts. Whereas for Kula, she actually increased her physical damage by 4,500% on her third skill, but she also decreases defenses by 70% on her third skill, right? So, like, they both have these insane buffs built into their kit. Now, if I was using their 3PGs, maybe this would be a different story, you know, because Maisie's 3PG actually increases attack, whereas Kula's 3PG actually increases defenses, right? So it might be a different outcome when you're using a 3PG. Also keep that in mind when you're watching this run. This really isn't meant to be a comparison, but that is kind of what is going to happen. And I do think that starting off the video or the reviews of these characters with, you know, kind of a comparison is a good idea, and definitely at level 90 is a good idea, especially using their SS3PGs. Now, if you don't have their, you know, Rugal sets, obviously the Athena set is going to be really good for them. Obviously, the Banner set is going to be very good for them. And I will be testing their Rush Dungeon set as well. I actually just acquired one of those sets today, and I'm actually curious if that set's actually going to aid against the Alexandrite event, because you're actually increasing your burn and chill damage. So I'm actually really curious if that set actually would be better than, say, just like using a Rugal set or so on against Alexandrite. Now I'm going to keep these girls at level 90 for a little bit to do a little bit further testing for you guys, because I know a lot of you players, you know, you're saving your rubies for a collab, and I totally understand that. So I really want to provide some perspective as far as how good these girls are just at level 90. I mean, really, are they really worth it to pull for if you just get the character one time? Because even if your luck is absolutely abysmal in that banner, right, and you had that 18,000 rubies and you just want to get the character, especially trying to get that EX generic memory from the Alexandrite event, then, you know, you'll at least get one of the characters guaranteed. Hopefully you at least get both of them. Really, hopefully we get some dupes. I know some of you guys had some bad luck. I'm totally sorry to hear that. You guys know I've been there too, man. 6 pities for Leona, which is ridiculous. Just insane bad luck. The worst luck I've ever had for my waifu. So I totally understand where you guys are coming from as far as, you know, having bad luck in the banner. I get it, man. I wish to God they would increase the rates, but as you guys can see, with 4 seconds spare, Maisie was able to do 43.8 billion, right? That is a huge score, 43.8 billion. And it looks like Maisie's 3PG is a little bit longer, which is why, or I'm shorter, I'm sorry, Kula's 3PG is longer, which is why Kula still keeps going and going and going, which actually does aid in damage, which is actually pretty cool. Right? And I do love the 3PGs, like the SS 3PGs for both these girls. And obviously I love the 3PGs for them as far as their new 3PGs or EX 3PGs is what I'll call it. I kind of actually skipped that a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and pause it. So, 24 billion. Now, guys, whenever I did a run with Kula and I was going 3, 2, 1, 2, 3 rotation, I actually gained 4 billion points. I was actually able to do 28 billion instead of 24 billion. Now, I would take this with a grain of salt, my friends. I really would, as far as this damage comparison, because this is just at level 90. Okay, this is at level 90. I have a transcendent card on my Z, right? So do keep that in mind, right? There are these little variables, especially with like your critical hits, as far as how much damage you're actually going to do. So I wouldn't take this right now as Kula is so much weaker than Mai. I really wouldn't, guys. I've seen Kula do ridiculous amounts of damage when she is leveled up. And we've also seen with some characters, when they reach A5, sometimes they're actually stronger than when they are at A3. So like, for example, if you have two characters at A3, maybe one character is stronger than the other, but when they're at A5, the other character will be stronger than the other, right? Sometimes that does happen. So I do want to, be fully transparent about that. Now, something that I want to talk about, guys, is in the Alexandrite event, because I'm going to show you a run in here as well, right? Now, when it comes to the girls, right, I'm using the Rugal sets on both of them, but for Leona, I'm just using a Serena set, right? Just a Serena set. And then for Iori, I'm just going to be using the comeback set. Guys, you can just put a Serena on him. You could put a Akane set on him. You could put the Leah set on him, whatever. It's all good, right? Real free-to-play setups, right? For Guinness here, I'm going to use, the Mad Tea Party set. And I am using his leadership because 65% increase to red element fighter attack, which is really, really good. And then Maisie, of course, with the Rugal set. And then, of course, Bison here with a Mad Tea Party set. Right? Not fully leveled up. And your BSNSS characters get a huge, huge buff in this thing. Now, I'm not going to be, because Maisie and Kula are both at level 90, I'm not going to be playing those characters. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be switching between all of my characters over and over and over. All right, so I'm going to bring up the run for you guys right now. So let's check it out, right? Now, whenever you have a level 90 and a level 90 with level 90 Mai and a level 90 Kula, it's really best to spam your SS and BS characters in here because you're going to do a whole lot more damage, guys. And these characters that have burn, like Leona, or like I have a shingle card on my Iori, if you're spamming their skills, you're going to be able to stack up that burn bigger than crap, guys. You're going to be able to stack up that burn. That's how you do a lot of damage in here. Now, I do have the comeback set on Iori, so that's why he was able to go into that 3PG very immediately, right? And look at the damage that I'm doing right now. Now, something that I'm noticing right now in this run that I pre-recorded is that I'm actually on manual gameplay, which is pretty damn funny, right? But if you notice, guys, Kula and the other characters are still attacking, right? So they'll still attack on manual, and we're able to do quite a bit of damage. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm spamming Leona. Now, something that's really nice about Leona in this is that she does have a CDR, a cooldown reduction core, which means whenever you're applying flame damage, her cooldowns they drop at a much faster rate, so you're able to keep running through your rotations over and over and over, and you're able to stack a tremendous amount of burn. Leona's honestly a godsend in this, guys. She's very, very good, right? And look at the damage that we're doing here, right? We are up to 43 billion with the first team, 43 billion. And as I explained in yesterday's video, if you're able to do 29 billion a day in this thing, you'll at least be able to get the extra generic memory. You're not going to get everything else from the event that we have going on, but you will be at least get that EX generic memory, right? But you're not going to get maybe the color you want, but you're going to have to go further if you want to get those fragments to try to get the color you want, which does kind of suck, but hopefully you'll at least be able to get that EX generic memory. And hopefully this will actually help some of you guys out as far as, doing more damage, right? People always ask me, how do I get the 3PGs built up? Guys, I just guard, I get behind Alexandrite, I keep my distance from him sometimes. Whenever you see the spots showing up on the ground, the little red areas, get behind him, get away from those areas, so that way he doesn't catch you and take away your PG. Those are some tips I can give you as far as getting it done, right? And honestly, guys, in hindsight, I think maybe if I would have used other characters, I might have done better. I think if I would have used SS Terry instead of Guinness, I probably would do even better here. But this is just showing how good these girls are at level 90, guys. I mean, honestly, 86 billion is pretty damn crazy considering all the card sets that I'm using on all these characters, and using a level 90 Mai and Kula is pretty ridiculous, guys. It's really insane numbers to be able to put up. I mean, more than enough to at least get that EX generic memory. So, I mean, are they worth it? You know, are they worth pulling for? I mean, personally, guys, yeah, I think so, but I do think there's going to be players out there that are going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to skip this. I'm just going to save my rubies because these are always bait banners, guys. I'm just going to save my rubies for collaborations because we all know how strong collaborations are. And we also know how they usually like to bring in these new effects with collaboration characters. That doesn't mean that Maizi and Kula aren't awesome. They are amazing characters, guys. I even pull for them on my free to play account just so I could, you know, try to get that EX generic memory. And again, you know, I was baited, but I have a lot of rubies, so I have a little leeway on my free-to-play account to be able to do that, but not every player is in that same situation. So for some players, they're going to skip, obviously, because one, they don't feel they can get through the event, they don't have a strong enough codex, they haven't played the game very long, and then there's going to be those players that's been playing for a little while, and they might be on the brink of being able to get that EX generic memory, and they might pull for these characters to go ahead and make sure that they can get it. And then there's players like me that are veterans that, you know, getting the EX generic memory won't be all that difficult at all. It really is going to depend on your situation, guys. And then obviously, if one of these lovely ladies is your favorite character, which I know for a lot of players, these ladies are going to be their favorite characters, then yes, of course, you should absolutely pull for them, guys. So let me know what you think about both Maizi and Kula, guys. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. TT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See everybody. Take care.